afternoon. This has been a week all about celebrating great achievements from coast to coast. I mean, last Sunday, the Academy Awards were presented, and then represented correctly. My fellow board members, could we do a better job of that tomorrow? Yesterday, members of radio, film, and television were honored with new stars on the Hollywood Walk of Stars. And as you've heard, today is National Speech and Debate Education Day. So it is very fitting that today we will induct two magnificent coaches into the Ohio High School Speech League Coaches Hall of Fame. Before we do that, however, I ask you to join me in welcoming the 23 members of the Hall of Fame who are here with us today. As I recognize each member, if you could please stand to be recognized by the audience. From the class of 1985, Joe Clark, St. Joseph High School. Class of 1995, Elaine Daly, Central. From the class of 1996, Fred Snook from Crestwood and Princeton. And Bonnie O'Leary from Shaw High School and Gilmore Academy. From the class of 1999, Joe Bazzelli from St. Ignatius High School. From the class of 2006, Nick Boulos from Glen Oak and Louisville High School. And John Mercer from Olmsted Falls High School. Class of 2007, Mike Amstutz from the class of 2008, Vicki Balzer from Mexico and Midpark High School. From the class of 2009, Gay Janis from Gilmore Academy and Manny Halkias from Canton McKinley High School. From the class of 2010, Trish Sanders from Notre Dame Academy and Paul Moffitt from Sylvania Southview High School. From the class of 2011, Suzanne Tyson from Stowe Monroe Falls High School and Joe Curry from Austintown Fitch High School. From the class of 2012, Elaine Fippett from Our Lady of the Elms High School and Tom Mossberger from Glen Oak High School. From the class of 2013, Bob Schertz from Hawkins School and Kathy Patron from Perry and Lake High School. From the class of 2014, Leslie Molbach from Gahanna Lincoln. From the class of 2015, Joan Williams from Ursuline High School and Rick Fujimoto from St. Ignatius High School. And from the class of 2016, Amy Rodiger from Mentor High School and me. So, that brings us to the business at hand. I am beyond excited for my two dear friends who are receiving this grand honor today. To get things going, it is also my pleasure to invite John Weaver from Perry High School and Alex Haspis, a graduate of Worcester High School, to tell us many magnificent and great things about Holly Custer.
It's an honor to be here to celebrate the coaching career of my extraordinary friend and colleague, Holly Custer. Holly and I have a mutual love of all things Harry Potter, so it is with great pleasure that I proudly profess, I solemnly swear that I am up to no good. Now, that is not to say, my dear friend, that this will be a roast. No, you seldom make a fool of yourself like I do. Instead, I'm going to reveal some of your secrets. I remember it well. It was the fall of 1996, and my mother decided that it was time for 7th grade me to be introduced to this wonderful, zany world of speech and debate. I remember being fascinated by the culture of this strange environment. People screamed at walls while others, highlighters in hand, frantically glossed over that morning's New York Times. These were the most impeccably dressed pack of fools I'd ever seen. I remember walking into a classroom and taking a seat next to a competitor named Scott Wilde. We knew Scott, and he was excited to see us, but his excitement faded when a poised, distinguished woman of 17 or so entered the room. "Oh boy," Scott whimpered. "She's good." She was more than good. I remember watching that confident high school girl disappear before my eyes and deliver a spellbinding performance. I was in awe. After her performance, Mom turned to Scott and whispered, "Good luck beating that." Yes, that woman was Holly Custer, and while that moment was just another round of competition to her, it was a transformative experience for me. It was the moment that I decided to check the box and say yes to speech and debate. Long before a coach entered my life to solidify my love of this activity, came a random moment with an eloquent young girl over 20 years ago. Holly was a consummate performer, winning multiple awards over the course of her competitive career, including a state finalist plaque. What a remarkable talent. She still is. One of the greatest ironies in this moment today is that Holly, an accomplished actress who has spent countless hours in the spotlight, is not a seeker of recognition. Rather, she has chosen to use her talents to nurture the next generation of bewitching speakers and performers. After all, wise philosopher and wizarding phenom Albus Dumbledore explains, it is our choices that show what we truly are, far more than our abilities. Holly chooses to be a devoted coach. She chooses to be an insightful collaborator. She chooses to be a loyal friend. In the face of every challenge, Holly takes control and selflessly leads the way. In 2007, Sharon Althoff, speech and debate icon and longtime coach at Worcester High School, passed away only days before the team's annual tournament, leaving Holly as headmaster. In the wake of a tragedy such as this, an average muggle might have given in, but not our Holly. She assumed that position under the most dire of circumstances, but her grace and poise in the face of tragedy carried a team and a community to the finish line of a season. And with her help, Worcester continues to be one of the most successful programs in the state. So, who and what is Holly Custer? When I look at Holly, I see a fighter who refuses to compromise her convictions for the sake of personal comfort. I see a teacher and a coach who worries that she will disappoint her students if something doesn't go as planned. I see a colleague whose respect and appreciation for her peers transcends the spirit of interscholastic competition. I see a friend whose generosity, patience, and love inspires me to pay it forward and to try and be a better man and coach. Holly, there is not a person you've met that you have not moved or inspired in some way. And each of us is a better person because of you. My friend, I am honored to be here to celebrate your much-deserved induction into the OHSSL Coaches Hall of Fame. J.K. Rowling once stated, "We do not need magic to transform our world. We all carry the power we need inside ourselves already." Some use that power better than others. You, Holly, use it best, and we are all the better for it. mischief managed. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome Holly's former student, Mr. Alex Caspis, to continue our celebration. Richard Nadowin, class of 1992. Robert Pollock. Thank you. Robert Pollock, class of 1993. Sharon B. Altoff, class of 2002. Russell Caldwell, class of 2013. Sue Tyson, class of 2011. All of these people have blazed the path for the many coaches that have come after them. Today, we recognize a coach that has forged her own path for success and now walks with these coaches in creating footsteps for others to follow. Today, we recognize a coach who could have let a great team find turmoil from the passing of Sharon B. Altoff, the beloved head coach of Worcester. At this time, I was not active in speech and debate, nor did I know Sharon Altoff, but I knew the situation as a resident from Worcester. Ms. Altoff left big shoes to fill, and had anyone else been the successor, those shoes may not have been filled, and I may not have had the privilege to compete on a team as successful as mine. But that same coach, as John Weaver said, utilized her grace and poise during this tragedy to lead the team from Worcester, organize one of the largest tournaments in the state, and ensure the continuance of the great legacy of Worcester speech and debate for years to come. Never one to take credit, Holly will give the credit to someone else. But Holly, today is your day. Today is the day that you will join the ranks of Sharon B. Altoff, Russell Caldwell, Robert Pollock, Richard Nadowin, and your great coach and colleague, Sue Tyson, along with many other outstanding, passionate coaches who join us on this stage today. As John said, my name is Alex Caspis, a 2015 graduate of Worcester High School and a speech and debate competitor for 4 years. And it is with great pleasure that I am able to join this celebration for 2 phenomenal coaches. All 4 of my speech and debate years I was coached, mentored, taught by Holly Custer. And when Holly approached me to write this speech, I was deeply honored, but I knew the feat would be large. Holly taught me to speak fluently, with poise and confidence, to speak so that people would listen. She pushed me to be the best that I can be, and then some, because she never expected anything but the best out of her students. She taught me and pushed me to critically think in times of trouble, and taught me that sometimes going out of my comfort zone was what it would take to win. With that in mind, I remembered what she would always tell me if I broke at tournaments. The saying was very simple. It was, just have fun. That statement went so much more than to just have fun. It reminded me that she would be proud of me no matter the outcome. That statement always brought me back to why I compete speech and debate. Because I loved it. Excuse me, I spoke in the past tense. I still love speech and debate. And a large reason for that is Holly Custer. That statement was calming because she would always have a glowing smile of pride on her face. At the other end of the spectrum, Holly was there if things did not go as planned. She would pick me up, brush me off, and we would get right back to work. One way I found to portray Holly was through Abraham Maslow's idea of a peak experience, which is described as the most wonderful experience of your life. Happiest moments, ecstatic moments, moments of rapture. Even though the experience is usually short, the experience I had being coached by Holly Custer was a peak experience, which lasted an entire 4 years. I want to talk about a few of the characteristics that make a peak experience. Maslow argues that a peak experience is exclusively and fully attended to. He describes something that resembles fascination or complete absorption. Holly is a coach that dives right into your speech with you and is completely absorbed into the practice. When practicing with her, you knew you were the #1 priority at the time, and that she would give 100% each and every time. When working with her, every detail was examined, sometimes ripped apart viciously, but then it was carefully crafted together again. And now that I see Holly work from an alumni perspective, I know she is completely immersed
and devoted to this program with a fierce passion. The next point I want to bring up is a disorientation of time and space, as if it is impossible to know how much time has passed. Although I know that 4 years have passed, those years left me wanting more. Then, to magnify in, some coaching sessions would be so detailed, so rigorous, so worthwhile, that I would check the time, and it would be astounding how much we had used. In that time were some of the best practices I would have, and some of the most fond memories of my speech and debate career. My final point I would like to bring up from Maslow is that a peak experience is only good and desirable. Now, I will be the first to say that speech and debate can be tough, demanding, tiring, mentally draining, and sometimes I would just anger Holly to no end if I would do something that an immature high school Alex would do. But at the end of the day, at the end of my career, I can say, and I want to directly quote Abraham Maslow here, quote, "The experience was perfect, complete, and needed nothing else. It was sufficient in itself," unquote. I can say that statement largely because of Holly Custer. So, without further ado, Mr. Moffitt, Mr. Kowalix, Mr. Keener, OHSSL Hall of Fame coaches, the large contingent of Holly's family here today, Mom and Dad, students, friends of forensics, and of course, to Sharon B. Altoff as she looks down. Today is that day. Coincidentally, as previously stated, this day falls on National Speech and Debate Education Day. And today is the day, in the slightly modified words of Dr. Seuss, or Theodore Geisel, as Holly and I refer to him, that I get to see the places that my coach will go, because she has moved mountains. Today is the day that we shine a light on the hours upon hours of work that Holly has devoted to this program. We honor the work she does to create the generation of tomorrow that would simply amaze anyone peering in from the outside. We applaud her tireless, impactful effort to improve this program and advance forensics not only in the city of Worcester, but across Ohio and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor and privilege to present to each and every one of you my coach, my mentor, and someone I consider a friend, and now one of the 2017 Ohio High School Speech League Hall of Fame inductees, Mrs. Holly Custer.
Your life changed. Maybe it was a big life event like a wedding, a birth, or a death. Or maybe it was something smaller, like starting a new job or making a new friend. We all have moments in our lives that help shape and define who we are and who we will become. For me, one of the most definitive moments of change happened in the spring of my 8th grade year. That spring, I said yes to speech and debate. And that decision completely altered the trajectory of my life. In the spring of 8th grade, we middle schoolers were able to attend presentations for extracurricular activities offered at the high school. Now, of course, I went to the band presentation. I had been a member of the band for years and was anxious to start marching at the football games. Now, I had opted out of several other presentations and was planning on opting out of the speech and debate presentation. There was no way that I was going to voluntarily put myself in front of other people to speak, and certainly not early on Saturday mornings. However, one of my good friends, who aspired to be an attorney, had her heart set on going to this presentation, and she really wanted me to go with her. I tried to say no, but like any good attorney, she found a way to change my mind. And so it was that I grudgingly went to this presentation for a group that I knew I was never going to join. How completely wrong I was. The presentation began with some quick discussion and demonstration of debate. One of them spoke so quickly I had no idea what he said. Another spoke of values and value criterion, and I didn't know what he was talking about. And then came the demonstration of what the coach called the interps. A young woman in a red dress came forward and performed a small piece of Shakespeare's Scottish play. And I was hooked. It was then that I knew I was wrong. speech and debate was for me. I was mesmerized as she cried, "Out, out, damn spot!" And I could see the invisible blood on her hands. And at that moment, I said no to my preconceived convictions and yes to speech and debate. I said yes to speech and debate, and it changed everything. When I went to the high school the next year, not only did I join the team, I also enrolled in the speech and debate class that was offered. Who was this girl who was living my life? That simple, single yes changed the path I was on and immediately altered my life course. Now, perhaps you think I'm exaggerating, but please allow me to explain. That one yes took the shy, red-faced girl who hated class presentations and forced her out of her comfort zone. That one yes enabled her to find her voice and her passion. That one yes opened up doors to careers and hobbies that would never have been an option before. And that one yes led that girl to the man that she would marry. Now maybe some of you can relate to the shy, red-faced girl who hated class presentations. You know, the one that whenever a teacher would say, "Presentation," my heart would race, my face would flush, my ears would ring, and my lungs would feel like they were going to collapse. Breathing was not an option. Running was not an option. Misery was my sole destination. But that one yes to speech and debate pushed me out of my comfort zone. I had to present in class. I mean, after all, in a speech and debate class, what else are you going to do? And I discovered that with practice and preparation, presentations could be tolerable. Now, that's not to say that I still don't get a racing heart or the familiar heat in my cheeks, but, well, now it's exhilarating rather than terrifying. Not only did I expand my comfort zone, I also found my voice, my passion, and a group of new friends. Working with these new friends and my coaches, I was able to explore voices and characters that were not me. Although the words that I presented were not my own, I was an interpreter after all, I was able to voice those feelings and words that, even though they weren't mine, I could somehow understand and relate. I could use others' words to make my competitors and my judges feel something, experience something, relate to something. In short, I discovered the power of words, the power of language, the power of speech. And that has truly changed me. Understanding the value and the strength of communication as a tool is a tool that I may never have uncovered without speech and debate. Now, I may still sometimes be that shy, red-faced girl, but because of that one yes, I now understand how and why the spoken word is so important and so powerful. After all, we share a human experience and a desire to be something bigger than ourselves. And language, speech, is how we demonstrate that to others. As I found my voice and my passion, I also uncovered hobbies that I would never have dared to try before. I found the stage, the theater, my home away from home. A place where I could be anyone, everyone, not me. That one yes to speech and debate gave me the courage to walk onto a stage as someone else and live in someone else's life for a while. And that, my friends, is one of the most amazing experiences that I have ever had. I've been able to explore feelings, scenarios, and situations that would not have existed without the magic of the theater. After all, how else could I go from a grieving mother to a World War II photographer? From a zany assistant stage manager on a goofy production to a nun battling what she believed to be wrong. From one of King Lear's daughters to a young girl who loses her father. The theater made all of that possible. And without saying yes to speech and debate, I would never have discovered the theater. So for those of you who know how important the stage is to me, you understand that I would be missing a cornerstone of my life. And more importantly, without speech and debate's impetus pushing me to become an actor, I would never have met the man I am proud to call my husband. Again, maybe you think I'm being silly, but I promise you it's true. I met my husband, Scott Custer when we were working together on a show. Without our common bond of the theater, our paths never would have crossed. And so it is that I owe my marriage, and in fact my current life, to that one yes in middle school, to this crazy activity that we call speech and debate. And that is why this honor means so much to me. To be inducted into the Coaches Hall of Fame is an honor that I never imagined I would receive. And to be presented with it now is honestly still a surprise. Speech and debate is such an integral part of my existence that I cannot imagine what my life would be without it. Certainly wouldn't be able to be standing up here in front of all of you speaking. I wouldn't be comfortable playing a part in a show, and I wouldn't have Scott. In short, I wouldn't be me. I wouldn't be the person standing before you right now if I had not gone to that presentation in 8th grade. Each and every person in this room has said yes to speech and debate. Whether you're a student who's competing, an administrator who sees and appreciates the value in what we do, a family member who supports a loved one, or a coach, one who knows what it is to help shape and guide our students and competitors to be what they never dreamed possible. We have all said yes to speech and debate, and I implore you to keep saying yes to speech and debate. That shy, red-faced girl from so long ago knows without a doubt that this activity is truly life-changing, and I am eternally grateful to those who have paved the way to continue this work. So I now turn to thank those people who have made this activity one of the greatest highlights in my life. First and foremost, to my husband, Scott. You have given me the greatest gift in the form of your unending support. Your love enables me to spend countless hours working with my students. And I am so thankful to you for standing by me as I continue to do this thing that I love. To my mom and dad, you made sure I was up and on that bus every Saturday morning, so long ago. And even when I could drive myself, my mom still was up, making me lunch to take with me. And still, every Saturday, she asks me how my kids did. Rich and Heather, thank you for listening to me, and even helping fill out master ballots for the Worcester tournament. Remember those days before SpeechWire existed? To my extended family, who's probably still trying to figure out what exactly it is that I do, your support and your encouragement of my students' successes and trials is unparalleled, and I thank you. To the coaches, not only those who taught me, but all of the coaches in Ohio, thank you for saying yes to speech and debate, and for giving of your time and yourself so freely to this activity. Your endeavors are so valuable, and the impact of your time and your talent is visible. To the coaches of Akron and Canton, you are my family too. I cherish all of the time that we spend together, and although you are too numerous to name, know that I count you amongst my family, and I am grateful to have all of you in my life. To my students, past, present, and future, you are the reason that I do this. To see your growth is my reward. You all have earned a special place in my heart, and I am blessed to work with each and every one of you. Bill, thank you for everything you do for the students we coach, and for everything you do for me as a friend. And finally, to John and to Alex, thank you for presenting me with this incredible honor. Your words were so kind, and your friendships are incredibly valuable to me. To be inducted into the Hall of Fame is honestly one of the greatest honors I can imagine. I know how much this activity has changed my life, and I am blessed to be able to work with students year after year. And my hope, my only hope, is that I have given my students even 1/10 of what I have received. And if that's the case, I am eternally grateful. The opportunity to give is worth more than I ever thought possible. Now, I thought competing was the be-all, the end-all. And once again, I was wrong. To have the chance to give to students what I was given means a great deal to me, and I hope that through my efforts I have helped them find the paths on which they belong. To be recognized for my small contributions to this great activity is humbling, and I am incredibly honored to be inducted today. I believe with all of my heart that this activity, its coaches and its students, have given me so much more than I can ever repay. But I will try and try and try to settle that debt. From the bottom of my heart, I sincerely thank you for this honor, and I count my blessings every day that I said yes to speech and debate. And I continue to say yes to speech and debate, knowing the value of this program. And as fellow members of the Ohio High School Speech League and those who support its missions and its activities, I hope that you will all continue to say yes to speech and debate, and that you may reap the rewards as I have done. Thank you.